In this video, this is character animation 3. We're going to go ahead and build upon our previous scene. This time we're going to have these guys be standing up, and then they're going to be following this node and walking. And then once they get close enough, they'll stop walking. And then once this node moves again, they'll go ahead and follow them. We'll just disable TP right now, and let's take a look. This node's going to go ahead and do some animation. It's got his own keys here, so he's going to go up here, stop, back here, stop, and over here and stop. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we want to do. We'll go ahead and we're actually going to have these guys be standing in the beginning, so we're going to set their initial A-tree state integer to be 0. We're going to come in here. We're going to go ahead and you remember previously we had been using the A-tree state progress to go ahead and switch between behaviors. We're not going to do that now. We're going to go ahead and take a look first, make sure that we have a walking, which we don't. So we're going to add a new state. In this state we're going to go ahead and call walking. And walking is going to have a certain frame range. Those frames for walking are the walk cycle here, 50 to 70. And remember, this is the character animation nodes 2. So 50 to 70, and let's go ahead and take a look. So we're going to need a transition for standing to walking. We're going to go ahead and add that range. Let's take a look at our notes here. So standing to walking would be 40 to 50. So we'll do 40 to 50. Okay. And this memory right here doesn't really play a use for us, so we're going to go ahead and remove it. What we're going to do, though, is we're going to come into this A-tree control, and we're going to re-enable this node proximity rule that we had made before. We're going to go ahead and now pick this point, and we're going to set this up a little bit differently. What we're going to do is we're going to say if they are within, say, 40 units, then we want them to actually stop and change which state they're playing. Let's just see where we're at right now. We've started them off standing up, so you can see all these guys standing. What we want is to control which state they are in based on proximity to the node. We've done this before in the first video. What we're going to do is say, okay, when the distance between the particle and the node is, let's see, when the distance is less than this value, then we're going to set them into a different state. So right now it's going from either standing or sitting. What we want to do is take a look and say, okay, if the distance is, let's do this, if it's more than 40, if the distance is more than 40, then there's some distance between these guys, so we need the particles to walk toward it. So we're going to go ahead and tell them to be in the walking behavior. Otherwise, oops, that was not good. Let's see if we can undo that. Not going to work. So if A is greater than B, then we want them to be in the walking behavior. Otherwise, we can want them just to be in the standing behavior. And what we're going to do is we're going to build on this a little bit here. What we're going to do is say, well, we know that we're going to want some velocities involved. And let's go ahead and pull this down. We're going to want some velocity. We're going to want those particles to head in the direction of the node. We'll go ahead and just give them some speed, and we'll adjust this in a minute. But we really only want them to be playing their walking animation when they are in the walking state. I'm sorry, we only want them to move when they're in the walking state. So we're going to go ahead and grab a memory operator here, connect it there, and we are going to go ahead and take a look at their state value. And we're going to do another little expression, so we'll just grab this one. And we don't need the secondary input, so we'll remove that. A-tree state comes into A. So what we're going to do is we're going to say if our A-tree state is walking, then go ahead and output a true value, so that this velocity, we're going to pipe that into the velocity on. But if A is not walking, then output is 0 for a false. What we're going to do is we're going to expose the on for the velocity, and then we're going to go ahead and let's actually rename this, rename output to mWalking. So if he is walking, then we want him to have some speed. If he's not walking, so if the inverse is true, if he's not walking, then we want him to have no speed, and so we're going to go ahead and use this invert into the velocity, set the velocity speed to 0. Now let's take a look at what we get. It's a little bit hard to see. I think we're going to need to increase their speed value here. Let's go ahead and try 100. Okay, a couple funny things, of course, is they're not aligned properly, so we're going to need to add some alignment for these guys to make them steer properly. Let's go ahead and drop an alignment in particle, and for now we'll just go ahead and do direction of travel. Particle axis is going to be Y in this case, and we're also going to need to rotate them around our Z axis 180. Okay, it's kind of hard to see when, let's go ahead and just switch viewports. So we get some walking motion, and then they stop when they're close enough, and they go ahead and, looks like their transition values might be really slow. Let's go ahead and take a look at their random speed. Yeah, we're going to want them to at least be, say, 1.5 to 2.5 for their speed of their animations. This will Okay, so this isn't too bad. There's still some little hiccups. The walking animation's not going to match their exact speed right now. That would take a little bit more tweaking. We get a little bit of this guy standing in here when he should be walking, and then finally see him come in there. That might just be based on his speed as well. Let's go ahead and detach this speed value and just use a float.